This is what happened to every AEW wrestler who left Tony Khan's company and jumped ship to WWE. Kicking off our list with perhaps AEW's biggest fumble, CM Punk. When Punk walked out of WWE in 2014, fans spent 7 years begging for his return. Every arena chanted his name. Every rumor on the internet gave fans hope. Every time WWE came to Chicago, the crowd made their voices heard. But for 7 years, Punk stayed retired. Then came August 2021, and the Second City Saint shocked the world by debuting in AEW. The United Center in Chicago absolutely lost its mind, and it looked like AEW had made the biggest signing in wrestling history. But here's where things went sideways. Punk's AEW run was a train wreck behind the scenes. Backstage fights, public callouts, and drama with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega turned his run into a soap opera. He won the AEW World Championship twice, but injuries and controversies derailed everything. AEW released him in 2023, and honestly, it felt inevitable. Fans thought that after his AEW exit, Punk's wrestling career might have come to an end for good, but then came Survivor Series 2023. Punk returned to the WWE after almost a decade, and somehow, it actually worked. He feuded with Drew McIntyre in one of the best storylines of 2024, had incredible matches with names like Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and even main-evented Night 1 of WrestleMania 41. Today, Punk is the World Heavyweight Champion and looks more comfortable in WWE than he ever did in AEW. But while Punk's AEW run was messy, let's talk about a homegrown AEW star who WWE treated like gold from day one. Jade Cargill was AEW's homegrown monster, built from scratch with zero prior wrestling experience. Her undefeated streak and dominant TBS championship reign made her look like an absolute star. She had the look, the presence, and that rare it factor that you can't teach. She was money, and everyone knew it. WWE came calling in late 2023, and Cargill made the jump. She debuted at the 2024 Royal Rumble to a massive reaction, and WWE immediately presented her like a star. She won the Women's Tag Team Championships and then captured the WWE Women's Championship, cementing herself as a major player. Her presentation in WWE has been next level, with production values and storylines that showcase everything that made her special in AEW. Today, Jade Cargill is one of WWE's top female stars, and her success proves that when WWE sees money in someone, they know how to capitalize on it. But while Cargill got the star treatment in both WWE and AEW, this next AEW talent had to suffer some of the worst booking decisions under Tony Khan's leadership. Ricky Starks was another homegrown AEW talent with all the tools to be a main event star. The guy could talk, he could wrestle, and he had that natural charisma that makes people pay attention. But here's the problem. Tony Khan's booking of Starks was an absolute mess. Starks would get hot, then disappear from television for months. He'd cut incredible promos, then get stuck in random tag matches with no direction. He won the FTW championship and had some solid feuds, but he never got the consistent spotlight he deserved. It felt like AEW didn't know what they had. In 2025, Starks made the jump to NXT, and suddenly everything clicked. He won the North American Championship and then captured the NXT Championship, proving he was always main event material. NXT gave him the platform and consistency that AEW never did. Today, Ricky Starks is thriving in WWE's developmental brand, and you can't help but wonder how different his career would have been if AEW had just pulled the trigger on him years earlier. Speaking of wasted potential, let's talk about one of the most iconic tag teams in AEW history whose exit turned ugly. The Lucha Brothers were cornerstones of AEW's tag team division from day one. Penta and Rey Fenix brought a high-flying, hard-hitting style that made every match feel like a spectacle. They won the AEW Tag Team Championships, and their matches against the Young Bucks are still considered some of the best tag team wrestling AEW has ever produced. These guys were legitimate stars, but their contract situations turned bitter, and the relationship with AEW fell apart. Penta made the jump first, debuting in WWE and becoming a mainstay on Raw's mid-card scene. Rey Fenix followed shortly after, landing on SmackDown and participating in the tag division. But here's the thing though, WWE has kept them separated on the main roster. Penta is doing his thing on Raw, Fenix is wrestling on SmackDown, and fans are desperately waiting to see if WWE will reunite them as the Lucha Brothers and have them go after Tag Team Gold. Both guys are talented enough to succeed solo, but everyone knows their real money is as a team. Only time will tell if Triple H pulls the trigger on a reunion, but right now, they're both solid mid-card players waiting for that next big moment. But shifting gears from the Lucha Bros, let's talk about a breakout star who left AEW at the peak of her popularity. Mariah May was one of AEW's most exciting female talents, and her rise was absolutely meteoric. Her feud with Toni Storm became the stuff of legend, with incredible storytelling and character work that had the entire wrestling world talking. The feud showed that she had that star quality, and her heel work was genuinely captivating. She won the AEW Women's Championship and looked like she'd be a cornerstone of the division for years to come. But then WWE came calling, and as a lifelong fan, Mariah saw an opportunity she simply couldn't pass up. She debuted in WWE as Blake Monroe, and her character fit perfectly into WWE's presentation style. Her feud with Jordynne Grace was hot, and recently, Monroe captured the NXT Women's North American Championship, proving that her success wasn't just an AEW thing. Today, she's one of NXT's top female stars, and it's only a matter of time before she gets called up to the main roster. Will Mariah's gamble of leaving AEW at her peak and joining WWE pay off, or will it backfire? Only time will tell. But while Mariah left AEW on top, this next wrestler's departure felt more like an escape from creative hell. Malakai Black's AEW run was peak frustration for everyone involved. Here's a guy who had all the tools, the look, the in-ring ability, the character work, but AEW kept him stuck in endless trios matches with the House of Black. Black rarely got meaningful singles pushes, and when he did, the storylines went nowhere. Fans kept waiting for AEW to unleash him as a solo star, but it never happened. His booking was so confusing that when he left for WWE, most people expected more of the same. But here's where things got interesting. WWE gave Black a program with Damian Priest that actually showcased his character work, and then they paired him with his real-life wife Zelina Vega as his manager. Suddenly, Black had the direction he'd been missing in AEW as a single star. He's got a fresh presentation, and it won't be surprising if this new version of Aleister Black gets a solid US title run and a potential World Championship contention program in 2026. But speaking of confusing career paths, let's talk about the most back-and-forth wrestler between WWE and AEW, whose situation has turned into a joke. Andrade's career is absolutely comedy at this point. He left WWE for AEW, then came back to WWE, then left again for AEW, and now there are rumors he might return to WWE again. It's like watching someone who can't decide which restaurant to eat at. In both promotions, Andrade has been stuck in the mid-card, despite having amazing in-ring ability. He's had solid matches, decent feuds, but never that one major world title run that elevates him to the next level. Because here's the harsh truth. Andrade is the perfect example of a wrestler who has all the technical skill but lacks the charisma and it factor to break through that glass ceiling. He can work a great match with anyone, but he's never been able to connect with audiences in a way that makes them demand he gets pushed to the main event. WWE knows how to use him as a reliable mid-card hand. AEW tried different things with him, but neither promotion has figured out how to make him a genuine star. Today, Andrade remains in wrestling limbo, and honestly, his constant jumping between promotions might be hurting his stock more than helping it. But while Andrade couldn't figure out where he belonged, this next wrestler found his identity by completely reinventing himself. Brian Pillman Jr. had a forgettable AEW run as part of the Varsity Blondes. The team had some moments, but nothing that made you think either guy would become a star. But when Pillman left AEW and signed with WWE, WWE completely rebranded him as Lexis King. And suddenly, he had an actual character. King won the Heritage Cup in NXT, showing a level of polish and presentation he never had in AEW. He hasn't captured major singles gold yet, but the potential is clearly there. King's got the look, he's improving in the ring, and most importantly, he's got a gimmick that people can actually remember. His transformation from forgettable tag team guy to legit threat in NXT shows how important presentation and character work really are in wrestling. Sometimes all it takes is the right company giving you the right opportunity to figure out who you're supposed to be. But while Lexis King needed a complete rebrand to find success, let's talk about a wrestler who had everything AEW needed but never got his moment. Ethan Page had the look, the promo ability, and the in-ring skills to be a main event player in AEW, but he spent most of his run in forgettable storylines that went absolutely nowhere. He was constantly stuck in that lower mid-card purgatory where you're good enough to be on TV every now and then, but not important enough to matter. Then came his NXT debut, and everything changed overnight. Page won the NXT Championship within weeks of arriving, proving that WWE saw something in him that AEW apparently didn't. He also captured the North American Championship, solidifying himself as one of NXT's top stars. Moreover, his gimmick translates perfectly to the main roster, where he could have a solid run with the Intercontinental or United States Championship, or possibly join a faction like The Vision. It'll be interesting to see how WWE uses him going forward, but one thing's certain: leaving AEW was the best decision of Ethan Page's career. But while Page's jump paid off immediately, let's talk about the biggest AEW to WWE move that changed modern wrestling history. Cody Rhodes wasn't just another AEW wrestler who left for WWE. He was one of the founding fathers of All Elite Wrestling, the guy who helped build the company from the ground up. When Cody announced he was leaving AEW in 2022, the wrestling world started buzzing. Everyone wondered if WWE would actually treat him like the star he'd become, or if they'd bury him out of spite. The buzz around his potential return was absolutely massive, and all eyes were on WWE to see how they'd book one of their biggest rivals. WrestleMania 38 answered every question. Cody's return was treated like the second coming, and WWE immediately positioned him as a main event player. He won the Royal Rumble twice, main evented multiple shows, and his matches were consistently on top of the card. At WrestleMania 40, Cody defeated Roman Reigns and ended his historic 1,316-day title reign, completing his story in the most epic way possible. Today, Cody Rhodes is the undisputed face of WWE. He's the guy they build the company around, the one who represents WWE in mainstream media, and the champion who carries the WWE logo on his back. He's even defeated legends like Randy Orton, John Cena, and Brock Lesnar, and it's clear that Cody's bet on himself has paid off in the best way possible. However, Cody Rhodes isn't the only wrestler who jumped to WWE from a rival promotion and became world champion. Check out this video next to see how AJ Styles and other former TNA wrestlers fared in WWE.